Barbara, just to let you know, I don't think that the agenda is on the website. I don't think it uploaded.
It's on
I
the
got it.
website. You just have to, the way you have to get to it, we had some problems technically this afternoon and all day really trying to get the link to pull up. The way to get to the link is to go to the right-hand corner of the homepage under the calendar and click on the one that says the meeting. And you should be able to click through and see how to join the meeting and get to the agenda.
We also got an email with the agenda attached.
Last Wednesday.
Yes, I know, but I was just wondering if it was.
Yeah, for the public, that's the best way to get to the agenda. We
Okay.
apologize about the technical issue. Commissioner Givens, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line.
Did you want to go ahead and open the meeting?
Oh, Commissioner Wheatley's not here?
No, she said she had contacted you about making you vice chair, given her situation, and she was going to be unable to attend the meeting tonight.
Oh, I apologize. I just assumed since she attended last night's meeting, she would meet this meeting. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Open up the meeting. Today is Wednesday, the monthly town meeting. Today is Wednesday,
The 9th.
June 7th. Is it June
9th.
7th?
June 9th.
June 9th, I apologize. June 9th. Call the meeting to order. Roll call, Ward 1.
Present.
Ward 2.
Present.
Commissioner Wheatley is Ward 3, and she is absent, excused. I'm Commissioner of Ward 4. I'm present, and Commissioner at large, please.
At large, Yuri is present.
Thank you. So with that said, we'll go ahead and we'll start before we begin the approval of the minutes and everything like that. Does any citizen have any pressing issue they'd like to bring forth at this time, so that if you have to leave the meeting, we want you to be able to have the opportunity to speak at this point, and then we'll resume the meeting. Okay, well, it doesn't stop. Is anyone?
Hi, this is Sadia.
Okay, go ahead, Ms.
Hello, I just wanted to double check that we wanted to just briefly say that we were happy with agreement that was done on our behalf with your lawyer and ours. So we just wanted to give the update that we were going to be signing it for you this week as soon as our board gets together. So that was our update and all that I did say for this evening.
Yeah, we have it on the agenda as a revised agreement. So, but
Oh, okay.
hearing the fact that you guys haven't signed it, there's really nothing for us to vote on at this time, unless other commissioners review the revised agreement and have some concerns or issues with the language
Okay.
that's within it. So, just sounds like they've worked it out, and at this point, once you get it signed, then you'll bring it back, and then the commission will have an actual physical document to be able to vote on. So we'll review that when the time comes. So thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to bring forth from the residents' perspective? Okay, well, hearing none at this time, and if there's someone, they could always chime in, and we'll get them noticed. At this time, we'll go ahead and if everyone will take a moment to review the minutes and the financials so that we can approve those, I'd appreciate it. And then and just let me know when you're ready to approve it with the motion.
When it's an appropriate time, I do have some comments on the minutes.
Okay, well, you can go ahead and speak to them now at this point, since while everyone
Okay.
else.
Okay, for them, this is Commissioner Young. For the minutes for Wednesday, May 12th, at the bottom of the second page, American Rescue Plan Fund Review. It says she sat in on an MML meeting, but it's not clear who she is.
It was me.
And-
but we'll correct that.
Huh?
I said it was me, but we'll correct that.
Okay. And then the funds have to be spent by the is it the state or the federal government by the end of the year?
No, they have to be spent by the municipality by the end of 2024.
Sent by the municipality.
Correct.
I thought we were receiving the funds.
We are receiving the funds from the state, and we have to spend them by the end of 2024.
Oh, it says the funds have to be sent, not spent.
Oh, okay. We'll make that correction.
Okay, that's what confused me because I didn't understand. Okay, and then MML asked us to submit our most current budget to them. And so I guess I'm just not clear on what that's all about. Why would MML be getting involved in the money that we are going to be getting?
Would you like me to go through
Understand.
that right now, or would you like me to go through that when I give my update?
Well, what I'm trying to get at is that the minutes aren't clear on
Okay.
what is being said there.
Okay,
It's just not, it's not clear when you read it, what's
Okay.
happening and why MML is involved, et cetera, et cetera. So correcting who sat in and change sent to spent, and then MML, who has the authority to XYZ, ask us to submit. I'm just not clear on why MML is involved in it. The paragraph doesn't make sense to me.
okay. Well, I may not have explained during the presentation why MML was involved, but we'll go back and listen to the presentation and try and get some
Okay,
clarity.
you may have said it, and it's just not in the minutes. It's just
Yeah,
not.
that's what I said.
what
We'll
you're
go back
thinking
and
about
listen
now.
to it and try and get some
Yeah.
clarity.
Okay, and then on the employee vacation discussion, I thought, and my memory could be wrong, but I thought that we had said that they could carry over up to 150 hours.
Right. We did say that with the new handbook, but what the problem was is that the Paychex, who's our payroll provider, had an older copy of the employee handbook.
Right. And so they stopped. They assumed that it was 120.
Correct.
But the last two sentences says Ms. Barber wanted to make sure that the commission was okay with this, and I'm not clear on what
Okay.
this is
Okay.
because I thought that we were fine with the decision that they get to carry over 150 hours, and I don't recall what was decided on correcting the issue that Paychex had gotten wrong based on a previous handbook. But it's just unclear how it ended out. I thought that they are allowed to carry over 150 hours, and that's what you said is right. But I'm still not clear what happens to those past hours that the
Okay.
employees had cut.
We'll try
Okay,
to-
and then finally, on the last page, or no, not the last page, the next to the last page, the motion to waive the charter requirement for competitive bidding, that's on the trike, I think. Since it's in a different paragraph, that's not clear. So I would either include that in the same paragraph or add in for the trike.
Okay.
And then On the work session minutes, at the very end of it, it says motion to go into closed session, but it doesn't say what it was about, and I think we probably ought to include that. The thing that the chair reads.
Correct.
I think it was about an employee issue.
We'll double
And
check
then we
that
came-
and put it in there.
Yeah. And then we came back into open session and adjourned, et cetera. Okay, those are my only comments.
Thank you, Commissioner Young. Does anyone else have any comments in regards to the minutes or the financials? Hearing none. Ms. Barber, in regards to these minutes, you know, I think the whole purpose of the minutes, you know, is for anyone to be able to pick up the paper and understand what's going on. So it's important that you take the time. I know that you don't actually transcribe the minutes, but we ask that you take the time to review them. It says if it doesn't make any sense to you, then it can't make any sense to anybody else who picks it up. So if Commissioner Young is bringing these things forth, then it's important, and these things are important because we're trying to be transparent. And if the citizens don't know what's going on, it just kind of reflects back on us, and then thus you as the town manager and our employees as to, you know, how we're conducting our business. So we want to be as efficient as possible. So we ask that, you know, we just take a little bit more time and just making sure that these things are tidied up, because they, you know, we do want to, you know, we do want to run an efficient government, and we do want them to, our residents to believe in us. So thank you. Is there a motion on the floor yet?
Can I just make one comment about the minutes?
Sure. Go ahead.
Ms. Barber, I just wanted to note that I specifically noted the holes in the fence, which appear to be more than last time, and discussion of maybe talking to the owners of the property over there, maybe getting lamps. I mean, I'm sorry, cameras or so.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I just want that to be noted as specific request there, because, you know, people are kind of alerting me to this, so I kind of want it to be resolved, or at least, you know, in the process.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Speak on that. It is being on a process. We're just waiting for a meeting with the management.
Please repeat that, Chief.
We're just waiting for.
Are you talking about the trash?
We're talking about,
Hold on. Chief, can you go ahead and finish your statement, and then Commissioner Young, you can speak after the chief is finished. Go ahead, Chief.
sorry about that. No, in reference to the fence and the trash in that area, we're trying to set up a meeting, hopefully actually next week, with the management company and the owner in reference to the concerns y'all have in reference to the holes in the fence and the trash.
Okay, thank you. So you did see that there are like enormous holes now, like they've grown since last year.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Young, you had something you wanted to say?
Well, I just wanted to get clear what they were talking about, the trash. And I'm having a hard time understanding Commissioner Uri. But if everyone else did, that's fine. I gather this is about cleaning up the trash over in the park area. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice.
Okay, so she's speaking of I believe she's speaking of the trash over by Julian Creek in the business area.
Right.
That's all right. So yeah, I think that's what she's talking about. But Commissioner Uri, I'm not sure, but we're all getting feedback from your when you do speak. So I'm not sure what device you're utilizing, but perhaps if you might consider switching, or because it is somewhat kind of difficult to understand. It's very garbled, like so. I'm not sure if you're on a Bluetooth or what, but so I just want you to make note of that. But in moving forward, is there a motion on the floor to approve the minutes and the statement and the financials?
So moved. Commissioner Young.
Commissioner Young has made the motion. Is there a second?
I second Commissioner Amashe.
Commissioner Armache, a second, huh? Call for the vote. Commissioner Ward 1,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward 2,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward 4, myself will be aye, and Commissioner at large.
Commissioner at large, aye.
Thank you. It is unanimous based on the commissioners in attendance. The next on the agenda, the next item on the agenda is, apologize, give me 1 second here. Thank you. Is the Hamlet Park, we're going to the old business, discussing the revised agreement. I believe at this time, Ms. Gomez has indicated that they have not signed the agreement. So if the commissioners have had a chance to review the agreement that's presently been put forth, and they have any comments or questions or concerns, if they would speak at this time. And we'll start with Ward 1.
I don't have any questions. Go ahead.
Thank you. Commissioner Ward 2, did you have any questions or concerns regarding the agreement? We're not voting on it tonight. Just wanted to see if the current state that it's in.
No, not at this time.
Thank you. Commissioner at large?
Not at this time, thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and table that discussion until such time the agreement has been signed and we have a document to vote on. Moving to the next item on the agenda is the new business vehicle policy. Attachment is the town.
No, sir, I hate to interrupt you, Commissioner Gibbons. The next
Yes.
item is the budget ordinance. I
Oh,
had
yes.
sent you all an email about why that
Yes.
was back on the agenda.
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you. I apologize. You're correct. The budget ordinance, let's pull that up, 2021-2. So can you open that? Thank you.
I'm trying.
Okay, thank you.
It just takes me a while.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sorry. Okay, my shoes on.
I think I have to stop sharing for a minute and then reshare it.
That's fine. You can go ahead and proceed with that.
Okay, can you see it?
Yes, I can. So at this
Okay.
time, this is the final reading, the passage of the budget. Is that correct? It's been
Yes,
on-
sir. It had to come back on the budget because the public hearing advertising that we did not meet legal sufficiency. And
Okay.
so we had to re-advertise it, but it does meet the requirements of the charter and having the 20 days before its passage.
Okay, thank you. So this is not an emergency. This is the second reading of budget ordinance 2021-02, in ordinance of the town of Cottage City Commission to adopt the budget and levy property taxes for the 2021-2022 fiscal year.
And I can pull up the revenues and expenditures so you can read those.
Yeah,
Can you see those?
I can. So, the revenues total in the amount of 2,154,343 $, which of 598,000 of that will come out of potentially come out of our reserves, and the remainder of that will come out of taxes and other revenue sources as noted in the ordinance. Next, and so the expenditures would be a total of, it's a balanced budget at $2,154,343 based on the expenditures as laid out in the ordinance: general government, highways, police department, grant expenditures, capital outlays. So we do have a balanced budget in accordance with the laws in the state of Maryland. So is there anyone who has any questions or comments at this time from the commission standpoint perspective? Okay, hearing no questions, is there any questions or comments from the residents prior to us taking a vote on this matter? Well, hearing none, And if there's begins to be questions later, please, just let us know and we'll address your concerns or questions. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the budget 2021-02 town financial. Well, yeah. I think that's it.
So moved. Do we
and-
need to read the
No, you don't have
heading of it?
we don't, I don't believe, is Mr. Best on here? I think the ordinance, well, we
The
can.
title should be sufficient, but Mr. Best can tell you better.
Yeah, I believe the title should be sufficient and based on the fact that it's available to the public. And we've expended the revenue. So a lot of that stuff is the whereas and stuff, but I'll listen to Mr. Best. I'll take his.
Everything is in order. Please move forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Best. There was a motion on the table by Commissioner Young. Is there a second?
I second Commissioner Amashay.
Thank you, Commissioner Armache. We're calling for the vote. Commissioner Ward 1,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward 2.
Aye.
Commissioner Ward 3 to Ward 4 to myself would be an aye, and Commissioner at large.
Large eye.
Thank you. The budget 2021-02 has been passed unanimously by the commissioner. So that the next item on the agenda.
Just a minute.
Thank you. Okay.
Can you
thank
see it?
Yes, I can. It's the new vehicle. It's the new business is vehicle policy, and the town vehicle policy is attached. Commissioner, I'm sorry. Mrs. Barber, can you elaborate and explain this topic?
Yes, ma'am. Excuse me. Yes, sir. You all had read this, I believe. We had introduced it at the work session, and you all hopefully had an opportunity to read over the town vehicle policy. The policy is in addition to, it's more of a policy and procedures, in addition to what is already stated in the employee handbook. What's different about this town vehicle policy is that it also includes any use of the town vehicles by the commissioners. And it explains what the expectations are for any user of a town vehicle. It goes into a little bit more detail about what should happen if the vehicle is in a accident, or if an individual should receive a moving violation and what their protocol should be. It also states anything regarding alterations to the vehicles or any type of fueling of the vehicle and what is desired by the town in regards to the order of fueling preferences and things like that. So it's just a little bit more in depth of a policy and procedures manual for individuals who use the town vehicles.
Thank you. Thank you. Does any commissioner have any questions or comments in regards to, we did review it last week and I believe you addressed them, but we're definitely open to hearing any additional questions or comments at this time.
This is Commissioner Amashay. I have one question.
Go ahead.
I don't know if it's just my view because I'm looking at the document on an iPad, but the only thing that I'm seeing with this document is there's some strange formatting things happening. Consuela, does it look? I'm trying to see.
Oh, let me see. I'm gonna have to stop sharing and look at it because I have to download it.
There's like
I think
returns and
maybe
spaces where they're not supposed to be, but the text also looks large, so I don't know if it's reformatting.
My
no,
copy is
mine-
fine.
My copy looks
is?
fine. Mhm.
Okay, okay, that's probably what's happening. Just went to double check.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, does any other commissioner have any questions or concerns regarding the vehicle policy? Okay, hearing none, we can go ahead and take a motion to pass this new policy for the vehicle, for the handbook, for the employee handbook. Is there a motion on the
So it
floor?
goes in the handbook?
Yes, it will go as an addendum.
Okay, I move we adopt this as an addendum to the handbook, the town vehicle policy.
Yeah. Thank you. Commissioner Young. Is there a second in regards to this?
I second Commissioner Yuri. I second Commissioner Yuri.
Commissioner Ward 1.
I don't think she
And it
heard
sounds
you.
like,
Yeah, I don't think she heard you, Commissioner Gibbon.
Oh, Commissioner Ward 1. We're calling for the vote. Commissioner Ward 1.
Aye.
Commissioner Ward 2.
aye.
Commissioner Ward 4 is myself, will be aye, and Commissioner at large.
Commissioner at large, aye.
Thank you. The vote passes unanimously and is now adopted as an addendum to the town vehicle, to the employee handbook under the town vehicle policy. Thank you. Next on the agenda is a neighborhood design proposal. Ms. Barber, can you expound on that?
Yes, sir. So that is the proposal from the Neighborhood Design Center, which is an organization that will be helping the town as they embark upon a venture with the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission to do a study and hopefully a facility at the Cottage City Park located off of Bunker Hill Road. The Neighborhood Design Center will be engaged in doing citizen charrettes and canvassing to get citizen input on the project. The cost of the proposal is $500. That would be all that it would cost the town to participate with the Neighborhood Design Center, and they would work with the townspeople and Maryland National Capital Park and Planning to get an idea of what citizens and residents would like to see at the park in terms of a facility.
Thank you, Ms. Barber. Let's open the floor for discussion from any commissioners who have any comments or questions at this time prior to us taking a vote on entering and accepting this proposal.
This is Commissioner Young. My only question at this point is, I don't think I saw a schedule on here. Has there been any discussion about when this process would start and how we would notify the townspeople?
No, ma'am, there hasn't been a discussion on the, I don't think there's been a discussion on when they would start. I think everybody's just waiting to see, you know, how things play out with the COVID-19 situation and social distancing, because anything that they do with residents, they of course want to make sure that residents feel safe in participating. So we're just going to have a discussion on how best to do the logistics of the canvassing and when that will happen. I'm sure that that meeting will be open to commissioners and residents once that is agreed upon. I think they just wanted to get the proposal in their queue at this point. And once we find out from them what their availability is, we'll make that available to you all.
Thanks.
Is there any other commissioners that have any questions or comments in regard to this matter?
Yes, this is Commissioner Yuri. Just wanted to verify this was a follow-up to our meeting with the Parks and Planning.
Yes, ma'am.
That's wonderful. They kind of got on the ball really quickly. That's good to hear.
I'm sorry, I missed that. What did you say about the ball?
As they kind of moved forward with this, got on the ball pretty quickly. It's good
Oh,
to hear.
yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree. And I think that it's important that if we're moving forward with this as a potential opportunity for a project, then we need to go ahead and I would support and ask the commission to support passing this so that we can, start, like you said, moving the ball forward. They will not do it if we don't have some type of a cohesive cooperation in regards to it. So is there any other Commissioner Marche, did you have any comments or questions in regards to it?
I do. I'm really excited. As I'm reading, I love the fact that, because I know that there's been some concern by citizens about how, the land around the area is going to be treated. And I love the fact that they note its constraints due to a floodplain, and that they, it says designs will minimize any additional impervious area on our site. So I think that it has such a great potential to have a really interesting and unique structure there that that works in concert with all of the nature that's also there. And I definitely am 100% in approval of paying the fee, and I would love to be involved in the brainstorming as this project goes forward with Neighborhood Design Center. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Marche. Is there any citizens at this time that have any comments or questions in regards to this matter? And we're happy to answer or entertain any concerns you might have.
While we're waiting, I have another quick question. This is Commissioner Young. Do we have the $500 in usable money at this point, or is that going to require any kind of budget amendment?
No, ma'am. As we mentioned at the work session, you all could use the miscellaneous $500 that's set aside in the upcoming budget for that.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Any citizens have any comments or questions regarding this matter? All right, well, hearing none, if you do have a citizen winds up having a question, just please and just let us know. So at this time, I'll entertain.
Mr. Darrell did raise his hand.
Oh, I apologize. Can you, and as we move forward, Ms. Barber, can you just kind of make me aware if there's some things in the chat or someone raises their hand, because I'm multitasking right now because I'm headed to an appointment while I'm doing my Zoom meeting. And I'm on hands free. I'm on hands free.
Yeah, I just saw his hand because I'm multitasking too, so I can only see one thing on the screen at a time.
Okay, thank you. You said Mr. Darrell?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Darrell, you can go ahead and speak at this time. We'll wait for you to come off mute, Mr. Darrell. You might be on mute. Can you take yourself off mute? Yeah.
Hello.
Can you tell? Oh,
Hello?
there he is.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that I'm in favor of the project. I had spoke to Wanda about it maybe 3-4 years ago. So I'm glad to see that it's finally going somewhere.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And it's going to be an involvement with the citizens' participation as well. So we'll be sending out notices through Constant Contact, and probably in hopes that we'll get it in the newsletter as well if you have enough advance notice. So just stay tuned. If you're not on Constant Contact, it's a service that we ask that you sign up with the town hall. You just call in and give them your email address, and they'll send you out important things from the town. No junk mail or anything like that. It's just important reminders or things from the town that are beneficial to the community. So thank you, Mr. Darrell. Is there any more, Commissioner, before we take the vote? Any comments? Well, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the proposal as written and pay the $500 fee to Neighborhood Design to begin in regards to the proposal.
So moved.
Commissioner Young has made the motion. Is there a second?
And second, Commissioner Amarche.
Thank you, Commissioner Armas says second. I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Ward 1,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward 2,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward 4, myself will be aye. Commissioner at large
Aye.
and Commissioner Wanda Wheatley is not present at this time. Thank you. The vote passes unanimously. And thank you. So we can begin, Miss Barber, and letting them know. And, what
Yes, sir.
else? Thank you. I appreciate that. And so moving to the next item on the agenda is block parties and backpack giveaways. This comes from the town manager update. Go ahead, Miss Barber.
Okay, so just wanted to touch base with you all. I was talking with the staff and, you know, normally in August, we do the Cottage City Day, and we did budget for Cottage City Day in 2022 budget. But I wanted to get your temperature about whether or not that was something that you all wanted to do in some modified form, or if the block parties and a backpack giveaway might be something else that you all might entertain in lieu of the Cottage City Day. So, you know, we were just thinking, would there be some virtual component of a Cottage City Day and then like do the backpack giveaway like we normally do, or what you all's temperature was on that issue?
Thank you, Ms. Barber. We'll go ahead and go about wards and see what everybody's position is. Commissioner Ward 1, Young.
I guess my feeling at this point is, I think maybe we need to decide on this next month, because I guess, you know, if everything goes like it's going now and people are getting the vaccines and so forth, then it might be fine to go ahead and have Cottage City Day. I'm not sure that block parties would be any better than that in terms of the coronavirus. But, you know, some people are saying, well, these variants may be coming in. So we're sort of, I guess I feel that we're sort of without sufficient information at this point to make plans. That's my gut feeling.
All right.
That if we put it off for a month, we'd have maybe better insights at that point.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Young. Commissioner Ward 2, Machine.
I agree. I think it's maybe a little bit too early to call. I do think if it's feeling like it's still not safe for that many people to gather, that maybe we could do something virtual and broadcast it, but I don't know. I think maybe we'll have a better sense a month from now.
Thank you, Commissioner Marche. I'll go ahead, since we're going in line, and speak. Yeah, I'm a little bit leery. The Cottage City Day is a big event. It takes a lot of planning. It's not something you can throw together in 30 days. So with that said, I mean, we have done that, but it's always kind of been a rush with everything else that our employees putting that on their backs, with everything else that they have going on. It may be it may be a little much, but I'm a little bit concerned about having such a huge event like that and all that it takes. So maybe we could push back to something of a. I know that they're talking about having Port Towns Day, and perhaps we could even do a block party or so sometime in September in the event that it's a little bit later. But I'm open to whatever you all decide, and I'd be also interested in hearing from Commissioner Wheatley. But at this time, I'll go ahead and give the floor to Commissioner Uri and hear her opinions and her comments. Commissioner Uri.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, I think that it's not a bad idea. I think most of us now know what our limitations are and we know how to social distance. I mean, I think that we can leave it open to the individual. No one's going to be forced to come. They never are. But I think that we should go ahead with it. I mean, I'm open to a modified version if that's what the commission's called. I think either way, however we look at it, we're going to have a modified version. But I just think that we should be very careful and
Well,
cautious.
some of our activities involve, like one of the most popular activities, and as hot as it is, it would be a huge activity would be the water slide, right? You got a bunch of kids. I mean, granted, they're not as susceptible to the virus, but you know, it's always a concern when you have multiple people without masks, and they're not going to wear masks. I can tell you that now. These
Yeah,
kids are not going to wear masks.
the water slide would probably have to be out, but there are other things that we could do with the kids.
Okay.
To make it entertaining. That's why I was saying, like, we're gonna have to modify it. We can't do face painting, anything where we're, swapping, things from person to person. We would have to be very careful of that. But I know that we could definitely serve plates, have other little games, other activities, where it's just as fun in a different way. So I mean, I'm open to it. It would stretch our creativity for sure.
Well, I will hope that
I'm
it sounds like
open
you
to
got
block
some.
parties as well.
All right, so it sounds like you have some ideas in regards to some activities, and I would hope that you participate in with the committee and bring forth those ideas so that they can, probably put those in effect.
Who's on
So-
the Cottage City Day committee?
Yes, because we typically will have a committee, and it comprises of any volunteers, staff, and commissioners who want to be involved in it. It's not run by a commissioner, so there will be no commissioner who's I'm in charge of the committee. That's not how it operates. It operates, the staff pretty much runs it. They take citizens' input and advice and so on and so forth. So, but yeah, so the more the merrier, the more help is always wanted. So I'd like to hear from Mr. Pinckney. He's really the linchpin to putting these Cottage City Days together. Without it, it would be very difficult to do it without him because of the amount of organizational work he does involved. So, Mr. Pinckney, I'd like to hear his opinion in regards to, while there's no vote, he's not entitled to a vote in the matter, but I am interested in hearing his opinion because a lot of the work will be on him and those things that we might want to consider in regards to this matter. So, Mr. Pinckney, can you speak at this time?
As far as Cottage City Day, I'm on the fence. It's a lot of people that comes to Cottage City Day, and all it takes is one. And like you said, there's a lot of components of things that we will have to bring and things that will be touched. No matter what games we have, things will have to be wiped off, sanitized on a regular basis. Outside of the years past, having limited volunteers, I know Chief get a lot of volunteers now, but we would need a lot of volunteers, a lot of people. The commission will have to be participants in making sure that we can keep everybody safe, meaning sanitizing everything after every use. It's just a lot of components for that big of the event, with 100 and something plus kids coming, and then their parents, and then people that are not even a part of the town who comes to be a part of it as well. It's just a big event. I will probably be more for the block parties where you can kind of, do it per ward or something like that. And it's not as big, but yet more manageable.
Thank you, Mr. Pinckney. Ms. Barber, can you speak to your involvement and your opinion in regards to this size of an event?
Right. So I had talked with the staff about it, and but we had sparked some ideas of really downsizing it to the block parties, not doing the larger Cottage City Day event because of all of the COVID concerns, but maybe doing the block parties on a smaller scale, but also really looking at doing something virtual in addition to a very scaled down block party. Like we had talked about doing something like a virtual dance party for the kids, or doing virtual bingo for the older residents. So there are a lot of creative virtual ideas that we thought that we could do that might be inclusive and have the same flavor as our Cottage City Day. And of course, the backpack giveaway, since kids most likely will be going back into the classroom in the fall. We thought that that would be one of the things that we could do, like we do or like we did with the backpack giveaway last year when we had that and just had everybody drive through and, you know, pre-register and give away the backpacks that way. So I think that we are, you know, we wanted to have the same flavor, but definitely have something more scaled down and safe for the residents to participate, and not have 2 years where they don't get to participate in meeting their neighbors and having some fun.
This is Commissioner Young. I like the idea that you have given about
Okay, go ahead.
doing virtual things. And then having
sorry,
people sign
Commissioner.
up for the backpacks.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, can you repeat that? You kind of broke it.
I just said I like the idea of doing virtual things and, you know, having to sign up for the backpacks. I'm still a little hesitant about block parties because even though there are fewer people, you still are in close proximity. So I'm a little nervous about that, but I do like the idea about doing virtual things and making sure that we do have the backpack giveaway.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Young. Is there any commissioners that have any follow-up comments?
This is Commissioner Amarshi. I just want to say thanks to everybody for sharing their perspective. I think it is a tricky question, and I really appreciate everybody's perspective. And I also feel on the fence. So,
Yeah. Commissioner Yuri, did you have a follow-up response? Any question or concern? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Nothing further from me.
Oh, thank you. You know, right now I would say, you know, we'll go ahead and table it until Commissioner Wheatley comes back. But, you know, again, I take into consideration what the staff is saying. I do understand that. And I think that we should be considerate and err on the side of caution. So at this time, we'll go ahead and table that, the remainder of that discussion, and ask the town manager to continue with her update.
Okay, the next item is the healthcare renewals. We did get the renewals in from our broker, Benefit Design Group, and we have pretty good news. The monthly premium for our insurance for our employees went down by 4.21%. So that's always good when you don't have an increase. We did have a slight increase in the dental. It was probably an average of about 2% per individual, but that's still really quite negligible when you look at the actual amounts that they pay, which is not a lot for the dental. So it was good news all around, and just wanted to get you all's approval. It keeps in place the Kaiser Permanente for the employees, which everyone seems to have gotten used to and are utilizing without any concerns. It also has Care First Dental, I think, and Vision, and we don't seem to have any complaints about those two services as well. So if the commission is agreeable, I will sign the healthcare renewals on behalf of the plan and send that back so that the plan renewal can occur at the end of July.
This is Commissioner Amarche.
Yes,
I have a
ma'am.
question. Do you feel that all the employees generally are, in addition to, you mentioned that everybody seems to be fine with the dental and vision, the health plan in general, the main health plan is,
Oh, yes.
you think everybody's happy with it?
Yeah, I think when you all switched, I think before I came, when the previous interim town manager was here and switched from, I think maybe Blue Cross Blue Shield to Kaiser Permanente. And it was a different kind of plan, but I think everyone has gotten used to it and made sure that they have the plan that suits their coverage. Whether, they want to use the option to have a out-of-network provider and use them, or if they only want to use in-network providers. The majority of the employees choose a plan that is just with in-network providers, and there's no extra fee for using an out-of-network provider. But there is that option, and we do have a few employees who have chosen that as well. But they seem to be pleased with the quality of the service, the quality of the customer care, customer service whenever there is a problem, and we rarely hear any concerns or issues with them.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. No further questions.
This is Commissioner Young. If an employee decides that they don't want to have the within network only, do they pay the extra fee?
Again, it depends on their plan. If they have chosen a plan that's I think it's a PPO, and that allows you to choose an out-of-network provider, you do have to pay an extra amount to use that, as opposed to just paying a copay. You pay a co-insurance as opposed to paying a copay, which is typically lower. The co-insurance is generally a percentage of what you'll pay.
And so that's something that the employees themselves pay.
Correct.
Well, it sounds like from what you've described, it's a good thing to continue with if everyone seems to be happy with it.
Okay. Commissioner Gibbons, does that give me the authority to go ahead and sign the renewal, or do you all want to call for a vote on that?
I see
He
that
said he
it's
had to leave it.
8:01. Yes, yeah, he said he had to leave, and I see that it's 8:01. I don't know if it looks like he's still here, but would you like me to take over?
Sure.
Okay. So it does seem that we have a consensus. I don't, did Commissioner Givens weigh in on the issue?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Oh, there you are.
Okay,
there you are.
I apologize. I'm gonna hit mute button by accident. I'm sorry. I was actually asking the attorney, is it required based on the fact that we've already budgeted for this amount for us to take a vote to do it? Mr. Best?
Yes. Yes, can you please restate your question? You were garbled.
Oh, I apologize. I was asking, is it required for us to take a vote on the renewal of the healthcare plan, seeing as if it's already been budgeted, placed into the budget?
The answer would be no. It's not necessary to entertain a motion or a resolution.
Thank you. So at this time, you have a general consensus and we continue
Okay.
as written. So thank you. Can you go ahead and continue? Go ahead and continue with your update.
The last thing is the American Rescue Plan Act update and requests. I've been trying to keep you all abreast of the information that I've been getting with the American Rescue Plan. The latest information that I got is in the form of an email from the Office of Management and Budget from the state of Maryland. They are ready to have localities request their funds to provide information to be able to request those funds. The information that's requested is like your DUNS number, which is a federal ID number, your FEIN, which is again another federal ID number, and some other personal information regarding who the authorized person representative is for the town. And I just wanted to make sure that you all were good with me requesting those funds from the Office of Management and Budget. The funds would be wired to the town, to their bank account. And that's how we would receive the funds from the state. Again, the funds must be spent by the end of 2024. They have given some additional guidance on how to spend the funds, and I've been sitting in several webinars on what the uses of the funds could consist of, and we'll have a more, I guess, general discussion once we have more clarity from Treasury. It's still pretty broad, and they try not to get too much into the weeds with these webinars, but of course, every municipality that sits in on these webinars want their specific situations answered, so they do speak in generalities more so than specific things that you can spend the money on. But two of the categories that look promising for us, of course, is the revenue replacement of the revenue that we lost in that fiscal year. And also in the sense of maybe doing some infrastructure improvements. Water and sewer is a called out, as well as broadband infrastructure is a called out improvement by Treasury, in so much as they have definitively said you can spend money on those types of infrastructure projects. It gets a little bit more in the weeds when you talk about the specific type of the projects, but I'm sure we can brainstorm and then get some guidance from not only the Office of Management and Budget, but also MML. MML has been, or the Maryland Municipal League, MML, has been tasked from the Office of Management and Budget as acting as their liaison with the cities and towns that are getting these funds from the Office of Management and Budget. And so we work closely with them on sending information to Office of Management and Budget in a general sense, not specifically sending them any type of bank account numbers or anything like that, but just generally sending budget information and answering questions about our budget if they have those types of questions. MML will continue to provide us with the support that we need as a municipality in the state of Maryland, working with not only the Office of Management and Budget, but also working with the Treasury and the National League of Cities. So if you all are certain that you want to receive these funds, we will go ahead and request them from the Office of Management and Budget. And I believe the Office of Management and Budget then has 90 days to disperse the first tranche of the funds. They will come in two tranches. The first one will come and it'll be up to 75% of what your budget was on the date of January 27th, 2020. And then the second tranche will come 12 months later. And that's all I have to report on that.
Sounds wonderful.
Thank you, Ms. Barber. Hold on, Commissioner Young. Thank you, Ms. Barber. Is there any commissioners at this time would like to speak on the matter? We'll start with Ward 1.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say thank you. That also explains some of the stuff that I had asked about earlier. I would definitely go ahead with it. And I like the part about replacing lost amounts in our budget. So I would say go ahead and do what needs to be done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Young. Commissioner Ward 2,
Agreed. Fully
Thank
in
you.
support. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Commissioner at large?
I'm in support as well.
Thank you. And I'm in support as well. One of the things I know we've discussed in the past, and it was just, we couldn't see it getting done due to the amount of funding it would require, would be some type of hotspot up at the town hall. So I think that that could be an opportunity at this time, seeing as if the infrastructure is being touted, Wi-Fi infrastructure is being touted. So this could be an opportunity to expound on that opportunity as well. So I'd like to make sure that prior to sending that out, that it gets sent out to the commission so that they'll have a chance to review it and before we actually move forward to send it out to the government.
You want to read the email?
No, I don't need to read the email. I'm saying you said that you had to put together some type of spreadsheet, I'd imagine, right? Like
No, it's actually it's just going to be something that's online that you fill out,
Okay.
like when you have
Oh,
a
okay.
form.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it walks you through the form that you fill out online with the
Ah.
information.
Oh, okay, okay. I just assumed that we were okay. So we were just, I guess we would really want to know is how much are we applying for, right? Out of the
Yeah, so
more
it
general,
would be-
eventually give us general numbers.
Yeah, I can give you general numbers. They still, like I said, we are provided them with the budget as of January 27th, 2020. And that was the FY fiscal F21 budget. So it would be no more than 75% of the FY21 budget.
Okay. Okay. Well, all right. Well, thank you. And I'm in support as well. So, thank you. Is there a need to take a vote on this matter? It doesn't really sound like it, but I mean, if we do, that's fine.
I mean, if you all are authorizing me to do it.
I was asking Kevin,
Yeah,
actually, just for legal sufficiency. I'm sorry, Mr. Best.
I'm not aware of any grant agreement. I'm not aware of any documentation I've been asked to review on this matter. So that being the case, I don't believe there's any need for a vote. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Ms.
I
Whaler?
didn't. I
yeah,
didn't.
there's no agreement. There's not, they haven't provided us with anything.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. So at this time, we could just go ahead and move forward. And we appreciate the work that you've done on this, Ms. Barber. Do you have anything else on your agenda for
No,
update?
sir.
All right, thank you. At this time, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which will be Public Works. Public Works, Mr. Pinckney, can you go ahead and?
Public Works wrote in the chat a request to please go to police. He's on
Okay.
an emergency phone call.
Thank you, Commissioner Armache. I appreciate you following up with me on that. Let's go to Police Department. Chief Ayers, would you go ahead and proceed at this time?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Gasco gave me a call this afternoon. They're the individuals that presented to us in reference to the speed camera program. They advised us that they can't move forward in reference to do any. Somebody has feedback. Somebody's mic is on. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
go ahead, Chief. I'm sorry. Go ahead. That was me, Chief. I apologize. Go ahead.
No problem. Yeah, so they called me today because right now I can't move forward unless they have agreement with the town to actually move forward with everything, to go for state approval as well as going forward in reference to installation of the program. They did submit some information of the town next door, which is Mount Rainier. that has the same volume of traffic that goes through their town as we do at Bladensburg Road. Last month alone, they had over 9,000 violations. So they advised us that Gasto would not put any camera in any location that doesn't need one. At the same time, if we go through a COVID crisis once again, or any kind of shutdown, we are not liable to do any payments during that shutdown. Like I said, the camera system pays for itself through the program. They want to know if possible if they can present one more time soon to actually get the ball rolling. They say with approval, they can get past the state as well as the installation within 90 days. And that's for the camera up and running. So they just want to get a time to come back to answer your questions, to actually review some of your concerns, to actually move this thing forward. They're right now on holding phase for other towns until they work with our town first in reference to putting things forward in front of the state highway administration. So they just want to know if possible, we can have a special meeting or if they can schedule to be on a work session next month.
So, yeah, I think that that would be prudent. One of the things that I do realize that we're probably going to need to do, we're switching vendors, and we're speaking to finance. So, which requires.
I'm sorry, sir, I mean, interrupt you. We're not switching vendors right now. This is for speed camera, not a red light camera.
Okay.
Red light camera, we can't go into a contract negotiation or anything until October.
Okay, so even with the negotiate, okay, even though you're not switching, anytime we enter into a financial agreement, we have protocol requirements in regards to procurement. So we would have to, once we do this, it will require us to waive, if this is the vendor, and to waive those, if we're not going to put out an RFP, have to justify the failure to do so and to waive those requirements. So we're not ready to do that right now because we're not to that point, but that is something that we will be required to do per our charter. So,
Mr. Vice Chairman.
Sure, Mr. Abess?
Yes, in addition to that, you cannot implement a speed camera program in Maryland. It's very unlike the red light program. You must pass an ordinance to authorize the red light camera, and it has to be done in accordance with state law. So it's probably going to take you at least 2 months to get an ordinance online before you can get up and running. And then there's also at least a 2-week process of posting signage before you can go active on the cameras. So there's some things that need to be done administratively or legislatively before you move forward with this project. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Best, for bringing that to our attention. So with that said, I would ask the commission if they're in favor of having Ms. Barber and Mr. Best and the chief work on that particular ordinance so that we'll be legally sufficient within the law in regards to the speed camera. I'll start with Ward 1 to hear the comments and question. Commissioner Young?
I agree. Go ahead and get to work on that. I didn't catch everything in terms of whether we had determined where there needed to be the speed cameras. But yeah, I would say go ahead and do whatever needs to be done because we've had problems with speeding for quite a while in town.
Thank you. Commissioner, the chief, can you advise, answer Mrs. Commissioner Young's question about this location of the speed camera, if it's 1, if it's 2, or
right now, we're shooting for Bladensburg Road, but Gasto is looking into surveying also 37th Avenue. But like I said, they won't do any surveys until they have some kind of contract with you. So that's why he's asked if I need any more questions asked to them. If they want to answer those questions, they just want to know if you're still interested of going into a speed camera program.
Could I just ask, you said 37th, you meant 38, right? And
38, I'm sorry, 38 Avenue.
38 at Cottage Terrace.
That's correct.
Thanks.
All right, Commissioner Armache, Ward 2.
I mean, agreed. I think that this is this is worth going forward with. This is a problem we've been trying to solve for a long time. And we've implemented a number of things on 38th Avenue in particular that have been marginally effective despite our best efforts. So I think we should probably move forward with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Marche. Commissioner Yuri, at large.
I guess for me, it seems to be an issue with some of the commissioners. Maybe they've heard complaints about it more than myself. I've not heard too much about 38th Avenue, and I personally see a kind of controlled traffic there, but I mean, I think it can't hurt if commissioners have received complaints about it before that.
Thank you, Commissioner Yuri, and I'm in support of it as well. So you can begin. There's nothing to vote on. You haven't, because we don't have a document in front of us. So at this point, just go ahead and proceed to begin work on that project.
All right. In reference to the next item is Lexipool, general orders for approval. I did see the problem that Commissioner Young had with that portion in reference to the off-duty employment. So what we did was I worked with Gasto and we went ahead and implement the whole policy, the old policy that y'all had, that y'all agreed upon, and had it inserted into the new policy for Lexipool. So that was sent over and to the town manager yesterday. If y'all haven't received it, I'll make sure I send it to everyone. But I'll try to see if we can go to a vote probably next work session to actually get the general orders approved. Any questions about Lexipool?
Mr. Vice Chairman.
Go ahead, Chief. Go ahead, Mr. Best.
Yes, so Mr. Vice Chairman, my question is directed to the chief. Does this new policy or general order permit secondary employment by law enforcement officers?
Yes, it does, but they have to go through the process that the town agreed upon in the old general orders. So the whole wording was taken, reviewed by their attorneys and implemented into the Lexipool portal. So we have that general orders as is was in the old general orders.
All right, the reason I raised the issue is because the LEOBR, Law Enforcement Officer Bill of Rights, mandates and requires that that municipalities and counties that have police agencies affirmatively allow secondary employment. However, it can be restricted, there can be agreements required, there can be insurance required, et cetera. But police officers must be allowed. Now, LEOBR was recently gutted, so to speak, in the last General Assembly session. I don't know how it's affected that provision, but I doubt it has been rescinded. So I'm just providing this general information for the commissioner's general edification. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
This is Commissioner Young. After I sent that email, Town Manager Barber told me that there was a provision also in the
Personnel manual.
Employee manual. So I'd say we probably need to make sure that they're consistent with each other, and that it does require a written agreement with the outside employer to indemnify the town for any thing that.
Exactly, ma'am. And they there's no conflict with the personnel manual and the general orders that we have implemented. So you're right. So it is a contract agreement that has to go on with the owner of the company as well as the town. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. The next line is Eastgate. We are in discussion to try to have a meeting with Eastgate in reference to the trash as well as the damaged fence. We're shooting for a time next week. Once I get that time, I will open up that meeting. It'll probably be a Zoom conference to whoever wants to be in the meeting. I will go ahead and send it out through the town manager to the commission and to the community if they want to chime in to ask any questions or have any concerns with the owner of Eastgate and the management company. Last week we had two.
Could I ask a question about the last thing?
Sure, go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Would it be possible to get pictures of the trash issues
Well, it's not as
for
bad.
that meeting?
Yes, it's no problem. It's not as
Thank
bad as it's not as bad as it was in the previous because our green team went out there a couple weeks ago to clean that area up. So it has been cleaned up. But like I said, we have a constant problem where
I know.
trash is blowing over the fence because dumpsters not closed. Individuals
Right.
are dumping. So we had to really address this. When I talked to the owner last year, he told us that he has a commitment that he will go out there and talk to his
Right.
tenants in reference to this. So we're gonna hold them to it.
Thank you. Yeah, I look forward to that meeting. Thank you.
No problem. In reference to training, we had two officers that went through the rigorous mountain bike training. Officer Marino and Officer Perez went through it. They successfully completed it. So right now we have 100%. All our officers are trained in mountain bike training. You will start seeing our bikes out into the community probably in mid-July. We are ordering our uniforms for the officers to wear on the bikes to make them sure they're comfortable and stay hydrated. So you will see the bikes patrolling the area shortly. So everybody is certified now.
May I speak?
Sure.
That is awesome. So
So
they're gonna
time-
be, so the officers are gonna bike down the trails for safety.
Well, we're not gonna go that far down the trails due to the fact that we're still waiting for our MOU with park and planning, and we're gonna discuss that later on in this also, because we have to start getting that MOU signed, so we have authority to actually enforce some rules and laws on the property. But right now, we don't have the MOU, we can't do anything. We are having problems with alcohol in the park. We have spoken to park police about that, but I'll talk about that shortly.
I think that's awesome. Thank you.
Last week we had problems with theft of handicap placards once again. What we doing here at the police department, we have sent out flyers to everyone in reference to how to secure their handicap placards when they're at home, in their driveways or in front of their homes. If they're not in a handicap spot, we ask them to remove those hangers off their mirrors and to secure them. Because we have a group of people going around the whole region and stealing placards out of cars. Yes, the placards can be replaced, but they are damaging people's car windows, which costs a lot of money. So what we're trying to do is to prevent that from having people hanging on their cars when it's not in a handicapped parking spot. But last week we had a problem on at the towers. The towers have something like 7 or 8 handicapped spots where cars use to park their vehicles. And what happens is they have to use those placards because of enforcement. So what we're going to do is we had a good idea by Commissioner Wheatley. She said there's any way possible that the town can actually come up with a placard that we can actually issue to the residents that live inside the town to use while they're within a town. We've researched it, we found out we can do it because it's private property. So what we're going to do is we came up with a design for a hanger that people that live on the towers and the townhomes that have handicapped property or have handicapped spots. If those residents will come down to the station with their placards and the proof that they have placards, we will issue them a placard from the town, and they can hang that on their car while they're on the private properties within the town's limits. That way, our officers will not cite those individuals because they have some kind of identification showing that they do have health issues that allows them to park in those locations. So that's what we're doing to try to stem the theft and the actual vandalism to the vehicles in our town. Any questions about that?
Commissioner, this is Commissioner Givens. Before we entertain any questions about that, just for legal sufficiency, I'd like to hear Mr. Best weigh in. I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but we want to make sure that that Mr. Best is not an issue. Mr. Best?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. I think I missed some things, and you may have to reiterate, and I apologize, but is it my understanding you wish to issue placards so people can park on private property as handicapped or disabled individuals, and they will somehow get a pass on some parking provision of the town code of ordinances? Can you please explain that again?
What happens is individuals can borrow or have people come and pick them up, and they have handicap issues, which they carry a placard that their friends or loved ones that take them to or from, I guess, the hospital can use these placards in those vehicles. So these vehicles are not signed to, these placards are not signed to the vehicle, they're signed to the individual.
Sure.
Has problems. What we have right now is inside of town, we have people walking around and breaking in cars.
Yes.
So we addressed the issue for the ones in homes, but on private property, like the towers, as well as the townhomes, we cannot protect them due to the fact that they have to hang those hangers because we have to be able to identify if a person has the right to be in that spot or not. So once we researched, we found out because it's private property, a private property can issue handicap placards to individuals that can be recognized by the police department that allow on the property to enforce. So that's what we're trying to do. Like I said,
well, this may need, I'm sorry, Chief, this may need to be looked in a little bit more because generally police departments cannot enforce the Maryland vehicle law or local ordinances on private property.
Yes,
it's not. Are you referring to an exception in the statutes in the motor vehicle code for handicap placarding?
Right. See, we have no authority on anything of towing or enforcement on private property unless it's handicap and fire lanes. Handicap and fire lanes we can enforce on private property if it's marked. Other than that, we cannot enforce anything unless we have permission from the property owner.
But however, I think the subject matter is completely preempted by state law. I do not believe a local government could issue something that was the equivalent of a handicap placard as is issued for motorists who are using the byways and highways of the public, or even as this law would apply to private. Because this law is not a function of town law, it's a function of state statute. I think the motor vehicle code on this matter probably impliedly or expressly preempts local governments from issuing such a card or placard. That needs to be discerned. That is my gut feeling on what the situation is.
So you think it should be the towers that issued out the placards?
No, it's the state. I don't even think the towers as a private property owner, if they expect to be able to use the power of the state law to do traffic and parking enforcement to the benefit of handicapped individuals, I believe the law preempts local governments and private entities from issuing such placards. They have to be issued
by the state
under the state law.
Okay. All right. Then we have to go back to trying to get the towers to actually get their camera system back up and running. So we work on that end. So we table the placards right now.
So I would say the chief, why don't you be able to give Mr. Best? I would suggest maybe perhaps you can give Mr. Best. Maybe you guys can come up with some solution that will work with legal sufficiency and your law enforcement powers to be able to address the situation and offline.
Okay, we can work on that. I'll do some more research on that.
All right, thank you. So we'll table the remainder of that because at this time, there's really nothing to discuss further that has to be held up. So Chief, you want to continue with the remainder of your report, please?
Yes, I have two more, with 3 more sections. We're trying to keep the kids occupied in the town during the summer. So we are going to have a 3-day soccer camp for our residents' kids. It's going to be on the open field Because of COVID, we're gonna have small groups, gonna be separated across the field for 3 days. It's gonna be 2-hour sessions per day. And the last day, we're gonna have a fun day / scrimmage. We're gonna go on the same guidelines that park and planning as well as the school system use for their athletic events. And we use the same protocols in reference to making sure everyone wears masks when they're supposed to wear masks and making sure everything's sanitized. So that's gonna be shooting for July 6th to July 9th. Sergeant Hayes will be spearheading it. We're also looking forward to movie nights with social distancing involved. We haven't set the nights yet during the summer. But like you said, we're trying to keep activities going on as much as possible to keep the kids occupied so they won't get into any problems or troubles in the community. Also, they're talking about doing a karaoke night for the kids. So that's what we're trying to do during the summer to keep the kids occupied. We're trying to do at least one event during the week, during the summer to actually interact with the kids in a positive way and to pretty much give them some tips while we have them there of how to live through life. So that's what we're trying to do in the next for the summertime. Any questions about those events?
All right, thank you, Chief. I'll say this: you're utilizing the funds from to support some of the activities through your community outreach. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, and also donations from people in the community.
All right, thank you. I would also ask that that we provide some type of during this camp, provide some type of lunch nutrition for the kids, especially, of course, the hydration, aspect, so that we can make sure that we don't have any heat exhaustion and medical issues.
Yes, sir. Plenty of water will be on tap. We already have a sponsorship for water for the camp, so we're gonna have plenty of water out there for hydrate the kids. And we're doing it for 2 hours, so we don't starve the kids to the point where they can't eat. But we will have snacks on hand. The last day, we're trying to give them some kind of food and refreshments for the last day of the soccer camp.
All right, but okay, all right. I just want to make sure that they have something to eat.
Yeah, we'll have like I said, it's 2 hours. They will be finished before noon.
Okay.
In the morning while it's cool.
Okay.
Done by then.
I got you. Okay. We'll open the floor up to commissioners who have any questions or concerns of the chief in regards to these activities that he's put forth. Commissioner Ward 1.
Actually, thank you for all the reporting on all those issues, and I'm fine with those. I did have a question on this issue summary report. Could you explain what all the abbreviations mean and what the numbers mean? You have issue type, which is pretty clear what you're talking about there, but then there's numbers after them, and then there's total, and then comp. I'm not sure what that stands for. And then penned, I guess that maybe means pending. And then you break them out into, I guess, fractions of a circle. Could you explain what all those mean? Because it just looks like a bunch of numbers to me, and I'm not real clear on it.
No problem. What we did with our new project for high visibility in the community, we came up with the program where it's actually, you pulled it up. Thank you very much. This is our program we purchased in reference to our hotspots in the community. So what we do is every day our officers go around and hit our hotspots, which means that at least once a day, the officers have to hit that spot on their tour duty. So that means that this for visibility purposes, for our dead ends where people dump, areas where people are having problems with parking issues or maybe some crime in the area. We have these little placards that are on poles or on fences throughout the town. And the officers have to go to those locations and actually hit those barcodes. And it registers the time, the location, and also we take a picture for evidence that we were there at the same time. If we have to go back for a crime, we can see how something was there before or around the time of the incident. So it's very effective. It shows how many hits we did last month. We did 1,130, well, actually 1,142 hits during the month of May. As well as when you see the pie chart, it shows that we are hitting the areas on a constant basis and we're doing it evenly, which is great. It shows that not one area is getting more than another area. So if you see the locations, you see 37th Avenue and Carter's Terrace. We have one there. We have one at the town hall where we make sure the officers walk around the building, make sure it's secured. We have it down at the garden to make sure that people are safe down at the garden and no one's dumping down there. So all our dead ends, we have it. Areas where we had some concerns about carjackings and thefts at the extra fuel gas station. We have one there, so we make sure officers drive through there to make sure people feel comfortable and safe.
That sounds great. So what does COMP stand for? On the first page.
First page.
You have total and then COMP and then penned.
Oh, that's when we have, like for instance, if most time code enforcement use it, if they go to a house where they see a violation, they can use this to take pictures and notes, and they can actually keep it open until they come back and check it again. So COMP means completed. That means that the task has been completed. And if it's open, it will show that it's still open until someone closes it. So as a manager and a town manager, we can actually look at it and see if what's open, and we can go ahead and talk to the individual that's working the case and say, hey, what's going on with the case? Why is it still open? Or do you need any help with it? So it gives us an idea of what's going on.
So penned would mean it's still open, and
yes,
COMP would mean it's complete.
Right, that's correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
I appreciate that.
Commissioner Ward 2.
Oops, sorry. I have no questions. Thank you. Thank you for this.
No problem.
Thank you. Commissioner at Large, Commissioner Yuri. Thank you. Chief, I appreciate all the hard work you've done, and I'm just really, in talking to our residents, they have really been, really like highly impressed with the food giveaways and some of the things that's been going on. And, I just continue to praise the fact that this would not be possible without the hard work of you and your team. Because I know you don't do it while you're the head. I know you have a team that you have to put in place. And we appreciate you and your team because it's all for the work of the community. So these things, they are talking. The streets are talking. And they're very complimentary of the work that you're doing. I'd like to continue to keep up the good work. And, every day you continue to impress me. So I appreciate you being here and doing all the hard work on behalf of the residents and these kids, because they need leadership and structure. So thank you.
Thank you. And like I said, I appreciate having a commission that backs me and supports me also. So I appreciate that.
Right. All right. Thank you, Chief. And were you able to work on that, on putting something in the newsletter in regards to these explorers?
I think we put something out last month, but we do have some good news with our Explorer posts. They are being recognized by the local commission in reference to the outreach that they are doing in the community. Like the Commissioner Givens said, we do food giveaways 3 times a week, and we can't do it without the kids in our Explorer posts. And so they're being recognized shortly in reference to the hard work they've been doing in our community. So I want to applaud them and also my sergeant that runs the program.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Is there anything
Yes,
else?
thank you and thank them, please.
Sure will.
All right. Well, thank you, Chief. Is there anything else on your agenda?
No, sir, that's it. I still haven't got all the information in the back in reference to the vehicle. We did lose a vehicle in our fleet. We are trying to look into possibly paying for a new vehicle by doing a a payoff of the vehicle we have on the lease on right now. So we have not lease, but we have financial obligation on our newest cruiser, which is the Ford Explorer, the brand new one. We have $8,000 left on it. They went ahead and deadline the other cruiser, and they're going to give the insurance. The JIT is going to give us $12,000 for it. So we're trying to see if we can take that $12,000 and put towards closing out that obligation with the financial obligation we have with the newer cruiser, and try to purchase another vehicle by using the same line item that we have for the vehicle lease on my line item, which is $7,050. We just spoke. I did speak to Ford Motor Credit Company. They said they have a process where they can do that. It's called an unusual first payment, where we actually use what we have budgeted for that year. So we don't have to do any reallocation of funds. We don't have to do any changes to our budget to actually use that for the first payment for the new vehicle. I still don't have the numbers yet. So once I get the numbers, I will be revisiting to the commission to see if are we able to purchase another vehicle by doing this kind of process. But I'm not there yet with the numbers. So I'm just bringing to your attention that maybe next work session or next month, I might be coming back to revisit it.
Okay, thank you, Chief. I want to make sure that one thing I do want to point out, and to make sure that it's a public meeting, these vehicles have to be the same color. You can't, someone went and bought a white car vehicle before, and the commission had made the decision. The commission, not me, the commission had made the decision to move to a silver or gray fleet. And we need to, unless the commission is making that changes, no one else needs to be making those changes on behalf of the commission. So that needs to stand unless the commission comes forth and wants to change that decision that was made by previous commissions.
Right. The vehicle will stay silver, sir.
All right, thank you. And I say that with all due respect to you, not to you as a person, but I expected that to happen before, and it didn't happen, and and it was too late. We get this vehicle that shows up and it's white. You know what I'm saying? So we just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. That's all.
Yeah, all the vehicles going to be made.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Is there any questions or comments in regards to that? I know he's still working on the numbers, but did anyone have any questions for the chief in regards to that or any other things he's brought forth tonight?
Yes, what exactly is the situation behind this cruiser?
Well, we were enforcing traffic violations. We had two officers out there on Bladensburg Road doing high visibility traffic enforcement for speeders. One of the officers tried to cross over Bladensburg Road to make a stop, and he was T-boned by another vehicle. And
so that cruiser was totaled?
The vehicle was totaled, yes, ma'am.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. There's no other questions for the chief. We can go ahead and move on to Mr. Pinckney on Public Works.
Could I just ask one more question?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm having a hard time understanding everything that Commissioner Uri says, but did you say it was the other car's fault, and so their insurance is going to cover?
No, what happened? It's kind of difficult to explain over the air, but what's happening is both insurance companies going to take care of their own vehicles. So our insurance company will take care of our vehicle. The other insurance company will take care of their vehicle. That's what was told to me by the JIT. But the JIT said because the damages are so severe that it would cost too much to repair it. So they're going to deadline the car and issue the town a check for $12,000.
Okay, is that it? Commissioner Young, do you have anything else? We'd like to move on.
No, I don't guess so. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pinckney?
Can I just ask one more question? Has this affected, do you know?
Go ahead, Commissioner Uri.
I'm sorry about that. Do you know if that's affected or increased our insurance in any way?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Mr. Pinckney, can you, are you ready to proceed with your report?
Yes, I'm here.
Proceed.
Just before we get to the RFP, I got a couple updates just want to share with the commission. The silver truck, which we are going to get painted, we have an appointment to get that done on Monday. And then the sprinkler system, we are scheduled for the 23rd through the 25th for installation. Just wanted to give y'all those updates. The RFP. We got one bid from the RFP. And then we had another bid that came in a day after the closing. The reason why I came in late was because Monday, it was an oversight that Monday, the 31st was a holiday. And they came up to drop the proposal off and the building was closed. They did not leave it in the box or anything. They called to see if they can still drop it off. We had them to drop it off, but we told them that we couldn't guarantee that it would be accepted. So I'm just putting that out there to the commission, whether or not you want to accept that proposal or not. We also had a discrepancy in our milestone, which we didn't catch until after the closing, because we had to change the date so many times due to the county. So one of the milestones that is on here was, of course, we put the 31st down as the closing date, which was a holiday. And we gave them the option to bring the bids up to the town hall, which we were closed. And then the other one was the selection for the proposal. We changed the date, but we didn't change the day. We didn't change the month. So that one says May 12th instead of June 12th. So those were two discrepancies that was on the RFP. But nevertheless, I do have one that came in on time. And I spoke with Ms. Barbara, and we said that we would put it on the table for the commission. And we can open this one. And if we're not, I guess, satisfied with this proposal, then it's up to the commission if you want to entertain putting the RFP back out for, I believe, Ms. Barbara, it was a minimum of 2 weeks, we said?
Yes.
For another 2 weeks to see if we get any more proposals in. And then, of course, the proposal that we have, the two people that did put in a proposal, the one that came on time and the one that came late, will have to submit a new proposal. So that's on the table for the commission. I would like to hear what you guys' thoughts are referring to the RFPs.
Before we move to the commissioners, Mr. Best, this whole lateness thing, does it meet legal sufficiency, or how should we proceed?
Well, the answer lies in the charter, and you all have an ordinance on procurement. And so I don't have to shoot from the hip. I wonder if Greg could send me an email, and I'll give you a very short legal opinion on this matter. I don't think it's going to be a problem, but I need to look at some things first, something first before I answer. Thank you.
You want me to shoot you an email on what?
The question, on the facts, on the RFP, and then allow me to ask for any more facts that I may need.
Okay.
Thank you.
So at this time, it just seems like, so that we make sure that we're legally sufficient, let's table that until Mr. Vest has an opportunity and Mr. Pinckney discuss the matter, and so that we can make sure that we move forward properly. Mr. Pinckney, is there anything else you want to proceed?
That is all.
Okay.
Oh no, there is one more thing. There was we had a complaint by one of the residents about lighting on their street on Parkwood and 3700 block of Parkwood, right there on the corner, 37th Place and Parkwood. And tonight, I guess I didn't get no response yet from one of the officers on pictures to see how dark it is there. So tonight when I leave, I'm going to go past there and see how dark it is in that particular spot. And the chief can chime in at any time because he got the same complaints. But the problem is that it's dark. It supposedly is dark as a patch where it's dark, right on the side towards the back of one of our residents' houses. And she was wanting to know if we could get Pepco to put a light right there on one of the light posts that's right across the street from our house. I did inform her that we won't be able to justify lighting her backyard so that she can see in her backyard as justification of putting the light there. However, if the street is dark and it causes a hazard, then that's justification of actually getting a light put there. So right now, there's just an investigation thing going on of seeing how dark it really is right there and what the next steps will be to either present to the commission of getting a light put there and then dealing with Pepco on that, or if it's enough light for the street and the sidewalk where we don't have to do anything. I know Officer Corporal Thompson said that he believed maybe one of the light poles may have been out. So he was gonna check on that, but I think they were in training today, so I didn't get a chance to connect with him to see what the result was of that. And then also there's a dead tree that's this year is completely dead, that she wanted to get taken out. American Landscaping was going to come to assess it to see how much it would cost to take it out, but due to the storms that we've been having and the lightning that has been taking some trees and stuff down, they have been very, very busy. So they're going to try to get out before the week is out to give me a estimate on that. Also, I wanted to make mention, since Mr. Wade is not here, the property down on Cottage Terrace, just in case anybody was wondering when it was going to get cut. That property is going to get cut no later than Monday or Tuesday. Again, because of the storms, it's been kind of hectic for them to come out and do the abatement this week. So we're going to get that cut by Monday or Tuesday of next week. They're trying to get somebody out this week if they can squeeze it in, but at the latest, it'll be Monday or Tuesday of next week.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pinkney. Is there anything else?
That's it.
Okay, so
I have a couple questions.
Okay, hold on, Commissioner Young. I'll let you ask your questions. Give me a second. I want to follow up with additional information in regards to Public Works. We've put together, as you can see, the two gazebos out to the right of the town hall. We're going to be working on the pavers that we've already paid for the pavers. So we just have to get the base and a couple of other things to do that installation. But that won't be, I leave for vacation Sunday and I'll be gone for 2 weeks or 10 days. So that won't be able to be done for a couple more weeks now. So it's coming. And so just ask you to continue to be patient. One of the things that I've been asking the commission, and I asked you guys to think about it, but now we're to the point that I need you to pay for it. So we're putting together, we'd like to have the idea to put together like a little small grill and sink for that area so that, people could, get together and utilize it for like smaller activities and stuff like that, or staff or commissions, or we utilize it for our own events. It will be small. A lot of the stuff I've already kind of commandeered from donations, like the grill. We would take it from for a propane grill that I have, that I was able to get to make it to a charcoal so that, we don't have that, the propane issues, potentiality. And and the only real thing you'd be talking about monies that be minor and would be pretty much taken from the general maintenance budget in regards to upkeep of the town. So I would suspect that project would cost no more than $500, and that's with it totally outfitted with the facade, the brick facade, the rock facade that match the front of our town hall, as you can see along the wall. So, but we kind of need to kind of know what direction we're going, because once we finish the pavers, we kind of need to kind of move forward that and or do something or not do it. So I'd like to hear from the commission what their position is. Commissioner Young, you can speak to your questions for Greg, and then you can speak to the issue that I'm speaking about. Commissioner Young.
Thank you. Yeah, going back to Greg's report. Thank you for working with the woman who's in my ward, and I've also talked with her with respect to the light and the other things. My question, you mentioned that you're going to be doing something on Cottage Terrace, cutting something. Was that a reference to the house down at the corner of 37th, where the park was going to come in and cut the branches or the trees there?
No, that was in reference to an abatement.
Oh, which part of Cottage Terrace were you talking about?
That's on the 4,000 block of Cottage Terrace.
Oh, okay. Have you heard anything more from I know they've been calling Parks and Planning about cutting back the trees. A big branch fell on their car and broke the window. Have you heard anything more from them? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so the arborist came down and he spoke with the resident owner there. They put up an awning on her property.
I saw that, yeah.
They put that up so that if anything else do fall, it'll prevent it from hitting any of the cars. And they do have them on a schedule to come out and actually do some cutting of the trees to prevent any other dead stuff to fall on our property. So we have spoken with them. They've actually came out and they've met with one of the family members and talked with them. They did put an awning up, so they're in the process of trying to take care of it.
Good. I don't think the awning covered all the cars, but in any event, I'm glad they're finally getting around to it. So thank you. And on the pavers, well, first of all, the what do you call the things that you built?
Gazebos.
The gazebos. They look great, and I would be favorable towards the other item that you talked about, the cooker or whatever you call it. And thank you for working on all of those things.
We'll call it the outdoor kitchen. How about that? So everybody.
Outdoor kitchen. It's more than just a grill. I think it really looks very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Amarche, Ward 2. Questions and comments for Mr. Pinckney and the issue that I raised.
Well, first of all, I second what Ann said. Thank you. The gazebos look beautiful. It's been, I appreciate you've been sending us process pictures, and it's been great to watch that go up. I'm in support of outdoor kitchen for sure. I think that's a great idea. I will follow up with, I guess, Greg and maybe Consuela individually. There's a similar issue that happened on, luckily nothing major was damaged, but looping back to previously, somebody had raised concern about the amount of ivy growing on trees and killing them. And so a neighbor across from the side of my house today on 40th Avenue, one of her neighbors, a large, several branches fell in the middle of the day. There was no wind, fell across her fence in the backyard. And we did contact the other resident, but you can see, again, this ivy issue is, so I don't know if we've ever come to any conclusion about there's anything that we can, as a town, do something about that, because I've been noticing since that was brought to our attention, how many trees I see that are being killed by the ivy, and then it causes, these dangerous situations. Luckily, nobody was hurt, because if she had been, in the back part of her yard and had fallen, she would have been injured. That I think is my only comment or question. Just thank you for the Demetrius, you personally, thank you for the work that you've been pitching in to help make the gazebos happen. And thank you to Greg for doing a great job. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Commissioner Marche. Commissioner Yuri at large.
Me, I also agree. The outdoor kitchen, I was thinking maybe more so for one of the gazebos, and I'm not sure if you were planning to do them for both, but maybe one, I would say. But we do have a lot of dead trees. It just seems really peculiar that so many are dying in Cottage City. I'm just wondering if there's not something that we're not noticing, but like on every block, there are several of them. So that's just to be noted. I know I have one in my tree block that really needs to come down. It's like a big eyesore. But I was wondering, Mr. Pinckney, do we have a little bit of flexibility to plant taller trees on the side of the road that doesn't have the power lines?
Mr. Pinckney, did you understand her question?
You said plant taller trees? It's kind of hard to hear you.
Yes, taller trees on the side of the road where there are no power lines.
So yes, when we get trees, we usually get our trees from the county, but due to the pandemic, we haven't been getting any the last 2 years. Well, last year. When we get the trees from them, if we do request taller trees, that's the only place that we plant them. For the most part, anything where there's power lines, we always try to get something that doesn't grow that high, so that we won't get it butchered by Pepco when they come in to do their annual tree cutting and stuff. So if we do plant anything that grows that tall, we usually plant that on the side where the power lines are.
And that's awesome to know. So we do have that flexibility. I just wanted to say, I think we're trying to avoid the issue with the power lines, but some of the shorter trees are actually the branches where it kind of bushes out. I think the shorter trees have more of a tendency to grow into the power lines than the taller trees, which actually grow higher than them. That's just a thought, because it looks like most of the shorter trees are the ones that are being cut back, the ones that grow 8, 9, 10 feet, that don't grow as high as the other ones. Like the taller trees, can grow 15, 16, 19 feet or whatever the case is. So that's just something to think about. But I have a few suggestions on tree landscaping that I'll send you a little bit later.
Mr. Vice Chairman.
Proceed, Mr. Best.
The commissioner should understand, particularly Commissioner Ure, is that street trees, whether they're in municipal ways, county ways, or state highways, are regulated by the state. A municipality does not have an unfettered right to prune, or a private individual of abutting property to prune, alter, cut down, or even plant a tree, a street tree along a public way. You're required to have a permit from the DNR. Now, the town can get a permit to issue such permits to its citizens, but it has to go through a certification process. I thought you'd like to note that.
Thank you, Mr. Best. I wasn't necessarily requesting it for myself, but more so for the city to plant certain types of trees versus me planting them in my personal tree box.
Well, whether it's a municipality or a private individual, no work, no planting or pruning can take place for a street tree in a public way without a DNR permit.
DNR permit, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Best. Commissioner Uri, what is your position on doing the additional modifications, upgrades to that area, to the gazebo area, as far as the outdoor kitchen?
So I think I noted I'm fine with the kitchen. I think for me, I prefer one. I wasn't able to hear if you were planning to do one or two, but I'm definitely okay with at least one of them.
No, it would just be one.
Yeah,
it would just be one.
I'm
Based
for
on
that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the support in regards to this. I want to thank Public Works and all the they've done in regards to it. This has been a long time, and I want to thank the commissioners who've been supportive of these community type of events that we're putting together on behalf of the residents. This was an important project because it's a safe space that can be utilized by our residents, our staff, and during our activities as well. You know, we have the police coming and going, and we have our regular staff coming and going. So it's different than the park. You know, we don't really know what's going on down in them parks. But they're not going to be, ain't nobody going to be doing any like illegal activities up here at our town hall. And I think that because we have those personnel there, and people will keep more of a watchful eye. But we do, but you know, at the same time, kids need to be safe, and our residents need to feel secure too. So thank you for your support in regards to this. With this said, I'm going to have to ask because now I'm to the point to where I need to step out of the meeting and attend to some very important personal business. I can try to come back, but it's going to be at least 30 to 40 minutes. So I'll ask that Commissioner Amarche will take over the meeting at this time. Commissioner Amarche, would you do me the honor?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And if you need me to come back, I will come. I will check back in with you all once I'm done, completed my business. Thank you.
Commissioner Givens, could I just ask you a question? Since all we have left on the
Yes.
agenda is, the ward report, we're probably not going to be here much longer. And, you know, we were going to discuss the property behind the town hall.
Yeah.
I don't know whether
Yeah.
people are going to be willing to wait.
Okay. Well, that property that has to be done. That discussion we need to have in regards to that property, or by town hall, has to be done in a closed meeting in accordance with acquiring
Right.
real estate property. So if the commission wants to reschedule in regards to and even have Commissioner Wheatley involved, perhaps we can do that, and I can make time, even though I'll be on vacation next week. I can make time to make sure that I'm available if they put it on, if they go ahead and send out a notice and stuff like that. I do know it's something we do want to work on, but it's dire that I deal with this personal situation that I'm up here for a meeting, and I really need to attend this meeting. So I can't.
Maybe we can do
I
it.
can't stay
Maybe
on
we can
the
do
line.
it in the next couple of nights.
Yeah, that'd be fine as well. So you guys can discuss it
Okay.
and figure it out, and whatever you guys figure out, I'm okay with. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Demetrius. All right, I'm just looking to see what is left on our, there's nothing else from Public Works, I presume. Now we can go on to the ward reports. Ward
Okay,
one?
for Ward 1, I don't really have anything. There are 3 issues that have been brought up relating to Ward 1, the trash back by Dueling Creek, and then the house where the branches had fallen, and then the house where there's the dead tree and the issue of the lights. But apart from those, I don't really have any report. I just want to thank everyone for everything that they've been doing with regard to the food giveaways and all the other activities in this difficult time that we hope will be coming to an end, and we can sort of see the light again soon. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Ward 2, again, I just want to loop back and forgive me if there's already been an answer about this, but because this issue seems to be coming up in a few separate instances, I have my neighbor, Barbara Cleaforth, who joined a meeting or 2 ago to ask about a similar situation that she's got going on where a neighbor's tree is apparently partly dead from ivy and is hanging into her yard. Mr. Best, am I remembering correctly that you said essentially that's up to the property owners to work out amongst themselves? Or was there ever something said about that? Do you remember?
You know, your town is very unique in that you have an ordinance provision that governs trees on private property. That's very rare in Maryland. However, I'd say the general rule is under the CSX versus Merrick case that the property owner's only recourse for self-help is to trim off roots or branches at the property line, at the imaginary plane. However, under the common law of negligence, a rotten tree or a danger tree, as it's often termed, that threatens life or property, and it's on private property, the individuals or the people that are in threat of injury should give notice to the tree owner. Once that notice has taken place, then the person owning the tree that is a danger tree will be liable typically. There's a prima facie case for liability there. Unlike, say, an act of God where a healthy tree is knocked down by lightning, falls over on a neighboring property, and say trashes or destroys a motor vehicle of the neighbor, that would not be a subject of liability for the tree owner. However, if it's a danger tree and there's been notice given to the tree owner, under the common law, they will be liable. Now, I need to revisit your ordinances as this provision dealing with tree maintenance or tree nuisances, because your code is very unique on this provision, but I'd have to visit. It's been at least a year or more, I'm sure, since I've even looked at it. Commissioner?
Okay, thank you so much for that, Mr. Best, because for example, in the case of the incident I was called about today, I went over to see it myself, and the tree is quite large, quite old, most certainly a danger. The entire thing is dead. Part of it fell into our alley, the alley behind, close to Public Works. And like I said, thankfully, the damage really was minimal. Her fence is slightly dented, but the tree is, it's just waiting for more pieces to come down. And this was like, there was no wind, there was no cause for that to fall today. So I did advise her to contact her neighbor. I'm also curious if there's, I think the conversation should continue about what we as a town can do about the proliferation of trees in the neighborhood that are being killed by English ivy and then are going to become hazards, if they're not already. So thank you for that. Let me see if I have any other, I don't have any other further report. I do have a couple questions for Consuela and my fellow commissioners, but I'll just for the sake of time, send those by email. Moving on to, well, all we have left is at-large report. Danielle, do you have anything? Commissioner Yuri?
Earlier in the meeting, but other than those things,
Having a hard time hearing you. If you are able to type your question into the chat or your comment, or try again.
sure. I said, I think I voiced some of my concerns a little bit earlier in the meeting, but other than those things, nothing more from me. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Is there anything else, anyone else that's present on the call that has any comments or questions before we adjourn the meeting?
I'd like to hear from any members of the public, but probably it would be good to ask everyone whether we could meet Thursday or Friday night about this property, since we lost Demetrius and we don't have Commissioner Wheatley, and I think everybody should be there for that.
Unfortunately, Commissioner Young, I am working both Thursday and Friday night. So I would not be, if we're talking about this week, I would not be available.
Well, then I guess somebody can
Perhaps we
start on it.
can work, perhaps we can work out through text or email time that works for all of us.
Yeah, that sounds good. I know Demetrius had said that he had, Commissioner Givens had said that he doesn't always have good communication from where he's going to be. But yeah, I think that's all we can do at this point, probably, because I think probably all of us need to be there for this discussion. Kevin, I can talk to you individually and sort of explain where we are if you haven't heard that already.
Okay, thank you. That would be helpful.
Okay.
And thank you, Kevin. I see your response in the chat as well. I appreciate that. All right.
You're
If
welcome.
there are no further questions or comments from the public, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'm just thinking, do we want to go into a quick closed session so that we can just explain to Kevin, or do you want me to just talk to him individually? I think he should be aware of what's going on. Either way.
Consuela, do you have an opinion about that?
I don't have an opinion about that. I mean, you all always do have the, I guess, authority to go into a closed session because we put it on the agenda. But I, you know, I guess that would be up to Mr. Best if he has the availability, or if you all wanted to do that tonight.
I feel
It
like in
shouldn't
the
take any more
interest
than
of,
about 10, excuse me.
I feel like in the interest of time, if there's no objections to this, I don't know. I'm not sure. I was going to say if there's no objections to Commissioner Young filling him in, perhaps by email, or, you know, and you can copy everybody.
I'd rather,
Mr. Best, do you
I'd rather
think that we
talk
should
about
go
it than put, I'd rather talk than do an email about it. I'm not in a state of mind where I feel like really spending the time on an email, but I could
got
probably
you.
explain it to him in 5 minutes. So,
Mr. Best, would you like to go into a brief closed meeting?
I can be available for a closed meeting with the commission as a whole, or I'd welcome a call from Commissioner Young to explain it, since she has a legal background. Either way, whatever is convenient for the commissioner.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Since we're going to come together for a special meeting when we're all available anyway. Go ahead and Commissioner Young, if you would you could give Kevin a quick phone call and explain to
okay,
him.
Kevin, can you text me or email me your number, and I can call you right now for 5 minutes.
Yes, I've just sent it to you directly via chat.
Oh,
Oh, you're
okay,
not
great.
on, you're not on this system, is that right?
yeah, no, I got it. I see it. Thank you.
410-533-6019.
Thanks. I'll call you right after we hang out.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So with that said, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
A second, Commissioner Yuri.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
you
you.
to the townspeople that came to the meeting as well. And everyone have a good night.
Thanks. Bye-bye.